I believe that should mean we're live. I'm going to talk about what just happened.
Yeah,
Did you get
yeah,
mad?
we're live. Yeah, yep,
Okay, we're
yep.
officially live. I'm not going to say that this didn't happen, but we may have just spent a full 7 minutes believing we were live, when we weren't. So I'm going to take this, and someone just say something if we're not live, when we find out after this ad, but I believe we should be. Welcome back, everybody. This is Yet to Be Named, the officially named ZGG Gold pre-show slash podcast slash shenanigans. I'm Swifty, joined here by Ratsu. Say hi, Ratsu.
Hello.
And special guest this week, in place of our very own Leper Koopa, we have another mod. A just as spicy, beautiful mod. Say hi, Pitiful.
Hello, I'm Pitiful. I am the current top laner for Hyperion Origin. I am gonna be going over Leper's choices. None of these choices are picked by me, but I'm gonna do my best to defend Leper's honor and defend him against these two.
Yes, so that is a great segue into what we're going to be doing. In the past weeks, we've been giving you guys sort of the state of the league, right? State of ZGG Gold, where teams were standing in the power rankings, on top of, sort of a quick look into what we thought maybe the outcome of each series week to week. We just had an interesting Silver Scraps week where we actually provided power rankings for the players. We thought maybe we'll bring something similar to the table for Yet to Be Named, but with a little bit of a twist. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be ranking everybody's names, but what we are doing is I'll let Ratsu explain.
So we're basically taking like the most, as the title would say, noteworthy players for each role, and noteworthy does not mean like best in role. It means most impactful for their team in that role. So it could be somebody that like let's use top lane as an example. It could be somebody who only plays tanks and goes like 0-1 and like 22 every game, but that's impactful. They might not be like the just best, like they're gonna curb stomp every game, but they're the most noteworthy player for that role.
Exactly. So this is by no means a top three in every role. This is just players that stand out to us for various reasons that we will obviously get into as each player comes up. Unfortunately, Leper had an emergency last minute. He did create a list, however. Pitiful is going to be dissecting sort of the inner monologue of Leper as we go through this, so thank you for that, Pitiful.
We share the same brain cells. Don't worry, we
They
got
share the
this.
same brain cells. They're actually twins
We're
separated at
top.
birth.
We're top laners. We
Yep,
know. We know what we think.
exactly. Um, So I should note as we get into the noteworthy players that this is going to be separated by division. So tops, jungles, mids, bots, and supports for Division One will be separate for said roles for Division Two. And we brought up three names that each of us wanted to talk about a bit for each role in each division. So that comes out to a grand total of what, 30 players? But there's obviously some double up. And we'll get into that and why. So without further ado, should we just hop right into this and start talking about Gold 1?
Yep.
All right. Let's do it. So, Gold 1 Division top laners. This is what each slide's going to look like, guys, by the way. I'm not sure if... I guess as each of us goes, I'm sure Pitiful might not be able to completely answer this because Leopard did the list. My specific list is not in any particular order. For the most part, it's in like the order that the teams appear on the ZGG roster document. So this does not necessarily mean that I think if someone's above a name that's at the bottom, that player is more noteworthy. These are just three noteworthy in any sort of fashion you want to look at it. Ratsu, is yours
Yep.
ordered or is yours just
Uh,
three names?
mine is just three names. I literally made this after not sleeping for like 20 hours with just my notes and not actually like looking at stats that I did because I was tired. So
So
I was just
it's a sort of
I was,
a sleepy take, if you will.
yeah, sleepy take. I literally warned everybody my takes might be hot because I was not fully cognizant when I made this list.
Perfect, all the better. So, I would start with Pitiful because Leper's takes are on the left. However, I feel like we should give him a little bit of time to just think about these as he sees them
I
because
believe. I believe in myself. I believe.
you want to
In
go
myself.
first then? We'll move left to right.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, take it
yeah.
away, Pitiful. Let's talk about Leper's takes.
So yeah. Leper. For his top laners in Division One, he picked Vixper from Monkeys Rising. Uh, since like week 4, whenever they acquired Vixper, they have been rising to the occasion.
Pun intended.
They've been pun intended. And they, I feel like they look really solid now. He is. There's not very many top laners that I feel click into their team as Vixper does with the calls that are made, and I feel like he is a really strong piece that Monkeys Rising need to succeed.
Great. I find it hard to argue with that. I mean, Monkeys Rising has definitely been rising, pun intended, again. Ratsu's been talking about it for weeks, and I only recently hopped on the bandwagon of, hey, these guys are actually starting to look good and really look like a cohesive unit.
Ratsu the Prophet.
Ratsu the Prodigy, Ratsu the Prophet. Do you want to talk about Physical and Exile?
Yeah, moving on to physical GSG. It's been around, a well-known name, GSG. Goon Squad for life. Physical is a strong, aggressive top laner. And I like aggressive top laners because I myself am aggressive. I'll keep on going in even if I'm inting. It's just a piece that I personally like, and I think Leopard does as well because he also likes to run in like me.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Physical's champion pool. It's very it's broad. It's very broad for like gold elo in my opinion. And he like picks pieces of champions pieces that is needed for the team, and he plays them well. He's not just playing champions that he's good at. He will play champions that is needed
For the team, yeah.
Yeah, he'll play for the team. He's not playing for himself. He's playing for the team.
Yeah, I think Ratsu and I have him included in our lists for relatively similar reasons.
Yeah,
What-
I
what-
mean everyone has physical. Yeah.
And Exile, what about Exile? What do you think Leper's choice there was?
I do not know much about Exile. I've known him for quite a while back in Abyssal League days. I know that TD Harmony themselves is a good team, so I'm assuming that Leper thought that Exile was just good.
Yeah, I do
enough
know that he
to
switched.
help him.
He was at Oasis Fire, right? So he switched
Yeah.
from Oasis Fire, got picked up by TD Harmony,
And
and has been doing well. So
I do not know a lot about Division 1. I know more about Division 2, but I do know that TD Harmony and Raw are pretty bang up in Division 1.
yeah, they're doing very well. I mean, I think to Leper's point about Exile, I mean, playing Devil's Advocate, I think that pre-Exile being their top laner, they were still performing very well, right? As in Division 1. But I do think it's definitely not a downgrade by any means. And TD Harmony's up at the top of the standings, and when you can pull in a new guy who was on a failing team and now he's succeeding on that team, it's certainly a reason to call somebody noteworthy. I'm gonna take that opportunity, Pitiful, to move right into mine. The first person and two people that I have on my list are for very similar reasons. Being Lazy Bush for Confish 9 and Actual Bird for Imperial Gaming. To me, these two players are very much so like recipe, staple textbook win through these lane players. I think a lot of the times when you see these teams winning, it's because you're watching Bird and you're watching Lazy Bush pop off, right? They're smashing lane, they're pushing their advantage, and they're actually creating openings for their team to win games. These are two teams that have sort of had a parallel sort of story arc going through this regular season. These are two teams that when we started off this season, we saw Imperial Gaming and we saw Clownfish 9 and said these are going to be two of the teams to beat, right? Roar was not in the talks. People put Roar all the way at the bottom. TD Harmony was not in the talks. People were putting TD Harmony like mid to bottom, right? And I think that Clownfish 9 and Imperial Gaming have both struggled. And I think it's because they struggle when players like Lazy Bush can't get their leads. They struggle, and IG struggles when players like Bird can't get his lead. So to me, these two players are noteworthy because it feels like a lot of their team's success lives and dies with their top laners, right? Physical for me is a different reason, and it's very similar to what Pitiful I just talked about in Leper's list. And I think this goes for all of GSG's players, GSG Sigma's players, rather. I think they're very much so a cohesive unit. We were looking at this team at the start of the season and saying this is a team of seasoned vets, right? Proven vets. Not only were they vets, but they were good, right? These are people who have found success in previous leagues and who have been around in names that have been widely talked about, names that are widely known. And I think, regardless of missteps earlier in the season and maybe not being on the same page, this team has shown us in the last few weeks that when they are on the same page, they live up to the expectations that is Goon Squad Gaming. And that is a team with physical Vandal, Bam, BTG, Decker, you know? And to me, he's a noteworthy top laner, particularly because GSG is a noteworthy team, and I think all of their members are very much so keys to their success.
Hmm.
Ratsu, what about yours? Very similar to
Uh,
mine.
yeah. TLDR, I think Bird is one of the two win conditions for his team. If he gets online, his team's probably gonna win. Physical, you've already gone over this twice in two different ways,
Yep.
and I can't think of anything to significantly add to that. But I'll go over what I'm different. So the reason I have Zuzu here is because Agnikai was kind of struggling at the beginning of the season, and they shuffled some pieces around, and Zuzu ended up in the top lane, which I was kind of skeptical of at first. I actually watched some of his solo queue games, just like I was curious, like how he
Hmm.
plays top, and I like at first I wasn't very impressed. And then like a week later, I was watching the stream game where he was playing top, and he was doing really well. He actually fit his team like significantly better than I thought he would. His playstyle seemed to complement them all really well, and I was really impressed just with how he handled himself in those games. So I thought that like that was actually like significant, because if that's something like what happens in 1 week, then in a couple weeks in the playoffs, it's gonna be a lot
Hmm.
better. I think like he'll be a lot more comfortable in his role, and he'll be a lot more practiced on the champions. So
Yeah, I will agree
definitely.
with you there. We just Wales is my team. We just screamed at Agni, and they looked good. They do look good, and I messaged Seals afterwards. For those who don't know, Zuzu is also Seals, same person. I messaged him and I said, "Hey man, like your top looks really good." I mean, I'm a jungler. He was a jungler. He was the jungler our first week, right, when we streamed their team, and he's a very mechanically talented player. I don't think he's a bad jungler by any means, but I messaged him and told him, hey, I think you fitting on Agni Kai, I think it's a good fit for your specific style of play. And I told him like that I was very impressed by his top lane. It looks really good. It's a transition that I myself as a jungler would not be able to make. Um, so yeah, to your credit, I think he is a very good fit for that team and is part of the reason that they're pushing their success as the season moves on.
Uh,
Um, yep. Were you gonna say something?
actually, a question.
What's up?
You have the top three. Do you think there are any dark horses in the top lane right now that
Uh,
people are like sleeping on
in Division
that
One,
aren't in the top three? Yeah, that aren't in the top three.
personally, let me think. I can't particularly think of any. Um, I mean, it's not. This also isn't top three. This is just noteworthy for various
Yeah, the no.
reasons. Um, I think there are reasons, right? When you're dealing with three noteworthy players, you can't objectively be like, oh, this player's noteworthy or not noteworthy, right? Because if someone pops to mind, normally there's an argument to be made, right?
Yeah,
Because if you're thinking about that person, then they'll pop up. I think it's also particularly hard to say because Division One is back and forth in a lot of these series, right? Like I think there are more upsets that happen in Division One than in Division Two.
yeah.
So it's sometimes it's hard to say because sometimes you'll see a player and be like, oh, they're on a team that's consistently winning, and then a bad game will happen, and then it sort of makes you doubt yourself. So I mean, there's no one that can particularly come to mind for me. But what about you, Ratsu?
Um, yeah, I can't really think of anything either.
Did you have someone in mind, Pitiful?
Um, I was gonna say I think Raining Wolves is actually a good player. even the
Corvus
circumstances.
Storm. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think Raining Wolves is actually a good or well-rounded
Yeah.
player.
I think when you're on a team that is struggling like that, it's very easy to overlook good players. You know.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate for Reigning Wolves. There are good players on unfortunately bad teams, and there are bad teams that are made up entirely of good players. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
They just try to win through skill gap and not like
Yeah.
actual
yeah,
team.
or yeah, instead of playing in a team, and especially when I think Reigning Wolves was Reigning Wolves in IBS as well.
Yeah. Raining
Yep.
Wolves was like the best top laner in IBS for like 2 splits, and then
Yeah,
he went to gold because he hit gold 4.
yeah, and we've said this on previous weeks. There are silver players who can make the transition and hold their own, and then there are silver players who come in thinking that the transition is simple when it's really not, because gold is really a different beast. Because you're playing against people who are bordering plat, and halfway, into the season, like there will be some platinums. So
It's a lot of thing going from IBS to gold is you got to think that if you're at the top of the food chain in IBS, you're going into the Shark Tank. You're the
Yeah.
bottom. Again.
yeah, exactly. So
And-
with that being said, unless someone has anything important left, I do know we do have a lot of slides to get through, and I'm realizing it's already 7:20.
Yep.
We actually have until 8:25 because the game was pushed back a little bit. By the way.
Me and Swifty.
I have a game though.
Tonight.
I play as
Oh.
well as Pitiful, so I gotta be
Fine.
on at 8.
Fine,
We
you.
leave Bronx
All
to
right,
the
let's-
leave Bronx to the finish.
Let's keep moving. So we'll just try and do the rest of these like a little like I don't know. We'll just cut the time in half or something. Pitiful.
Yep, we're going to jungles.
Yeah.
So we have Vandrel. Vandrel is like all players on GSG, in my opinion, seasoned for competitive. Vandrel is a fellow admin of mine. I like to banter with him. He's a strong jungler. It's hard to track him, or if you do track him, he's always where he needs to be. I feel whenever he ganks, he's tracking the enemy jungler more efficiently than you're tracking him, in my opinion.
Mm.
He knows when he can make his plays, and he knows when he can't make his plays. His champion pool is a good one as well, for especially this meta. And I think I don't know if Leopard put all of GSG on this, but I feel like GSG is a well-rounded team and can make it far in Division 1.
Yeah. I think it might be the case that all of us have each.
Yep, everyone has been-
I think it might be the case.
Yeah, we all have Vandrel and we all have Levy.
Yeah. You want to talk about
Finny?
Mello?
Yeah,
Finny?
I'm
I don't
gonna
know what his name
It's
is.
short. It's short. I think I don't know what it is right now. If you're in here, Finny, tell me what your name is now.
SOM.
No, I'm pretty sure he took Morgana X Lily or Lily X Morgana.
What?
Now in League.
No,
he
he's
took that
he's
from me.
SOM.
No, he took in League of Legends. He took that away from me because I was gonna make it.
Oh.
But
okay.
I've played with Finny. Finny is a good jungler. Even if he gets forced on Lilia and I get to play Sejuani top, Man's has a cool head. He can get ahead early and he can definitely solo carry games.
Yeah.
His champion pool is also wide. Like I feel like in a meta with everly changing, like every single patch something gets buffed, something gets nerfed, so you got to add more stuff into your pool. Finny is a good player to that. Last season, all he played was top lane, Malphite and whatnot, but now he gets to play like Lilia, Echo, Diana.
Mhm.
He's also very aggressive as a jungler, which I like. Where he was playing passive Malphite all last season. I feel like the aggressive laners fit him better than being passive. I do not know much about Clownfish 9.
Do you want me to take Levy then and transition into it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Levy to me is the best jungler in this division. To me, it's no question about it. I don't know if he's the most successful jungler in this division, right? But I think like just on paper in a vacuum, I think Levy is the most talented out of this division's junglers. He is incredibly knowledgeable. He's in the same organization as myself, and I've had the opportunity of playing with him, playing against him, working with him. The man knows his stuff, and to me, for the same reason that I had Lazy Bush up top, I think this team lives and dies by Levy. you'll see games where Clownfish loses to teams that I don't think they should be losing to, and it's because Levy can't get online. Um, on a team where Levy can really, really flourish, he is one of the more unstoppable forces in the jungle. Um, like I've played versus a bunch of junglers like in this circle, and Levy is up at the top of guys who make me really sweat when I'm playing jungle. And for that reason, he's noteworthy to me because when I see Levy's on the other team, I actually have to really think about what I'm going to pick into him and where he's going to be, how well he's going to be, following my tracking and all of that. Um, Vandrel, we talked about it. GSG, this team is a unit of five. This is like the definition of team play. I think every single one of them is critical to their success. And Jungkook, BTS Jungkook, who is the jungler for Monkeys Rising. I think Monkeys Rising is gaining some recognition from us in the last few weeks. And when I'm looking at the recent wins and the recent games, as they are rising, pun intended, a third time, I think he's part of that. Or they are part of that. I'm sorry if I screwed that up. Yeah, I think Jungkook's a part of their success that they're finding in these more recent weeks. And to me, that stands out. So, Ratsu, what about your list?
Levy, best jungler in league. Vandrel, an absolute unit. But I think that people are overlooking Athena because Athena doesn't like pop off, do crazy shit. What Athena does is provide like a lot of stability and just like map pressure in Division 1, which is just like a pile of chaos, which to me is actually super mega valuable, and a lot of people don't value that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like my take on that. Like that's why I picked Athena,
Athena
over
over
anybody else.
over
Yeah,
Mello or Jungkook.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like want to say like they're necessarily like pound for pound better, but what they do for their team is more valuable than what other people do for their team in the same division.
Well, that's what noteworthy is, I guess. Do you want to talk about Vandrel at all, or
Vandrel's the unit. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Tried and
does
true.
what he needs. Yeah, he does what he needs to do, and there's like not a whole lot to go over with Vandrel. It's like, yeah, Vandrel's just good.
all right? I'm realizing it's 7:30 and we have to play, so
Yeah.
let's like triple time these next ones.
Rapid fast.
Rapid
go.
fire, go! Pitiful.
All right. I'm gonna start with.
If you need to tag us in, you can. If you need
Alright,
time.
okay. I'm gonna actually start with Socks and Thighs.
Okay.
From Agni Kai. I've played with Socks. Socks is the rock that holds Agni Kai together, in my opinion. Socks is always level-headed. Socks plays great champions. You ever seen him on his Camille mid, you'll know. He is an absolute unit. And he is actually a very knowledgeable player. He knows what he's doing in the mid lane, and is basically, in my opinion, one of the reasons that Agni Kai is still in this. BTG, GSG, do I have to say more?
Yep,
They're
that's
fucking
it.
great. Azure Fire. I do not know much about Division 1, as I said. I know Azure Fire as a person, like I've heard the name spewed through the walls. Has been around for a long time. I know he has a wide champ pool, and I believe he is like one of the actual like big people in Imperial. Is like known in there. He is a pretty well-rounded mid laner, and I think he can help IG get higher up in the rankings later on if he can get to that point.
Who the hell do I have? BTG GSG situation again. Every single one of them is important, and I think it's clear when you watch their games that it's five of them working together. Azure Fire, I think, again, kind of what Pitiful had said. Similar to the Bird situation, I think this is like the second key to their success. They need their mid or their top to succeed in the early game if they're going to win, right? If Bird falls behind and if Azure falls behind, they tend to lose their games, unfortunately enough. And I think the team revolves around those two players. Forgotten One, aka Rune Mage, if I'm not mistaken, on Oasis Fire. I think is a more recent addition to Oasis Fire, as Oasis Fire, I'm pretty sure, kind of just like imploded. Um, I don't know. It was a little bit hard for me because I think there are a lot of people who I could have argued for a third slot here. But to me, I the Forgotten One just stood out in terms of like a skillful player who like I think is on an unfortunately failing roster right now. And still manages to look good in the face of adversity, and that's why I have them here. Ratsu, what about yours?
Socks and Thighs, probably best mid laner in this division, I think. BTG, GSGS, I think that also probably second best mid laner in this division. And then Dracana is on my list because mid jungle is a duo. It's basically like a duo lane. And if you don't have a strong mid laner, your jungler can't do whatever they want. And so if Dracana was weak, then you couldn't have a really strong jungler in Athena.
Oh.
So it's kind of like that partnership is like the core of TDH, and like they are the reason that team is actually doing well, I think.
Yeah. All right, moving on to bots.
All right.
We all have the same thing except for that last.
Yep. Bam, GSG. What else could I say? Bam was on CB for a bit. I know he is a absolute unit in the bot lane. Loves playing hyper carries. Can easily carry the game if he's given the opportunity. Barry Donut, Monkeys Rising. I believe Monkeys Rising bottom lane is one of the stronger bottom lanes in Division 1.
I agree.
Put them together and they can beat like stronger laners in my opinion. So even if someone is better like AD carry, I feel like them together can outclass all that. Table, I feel if IG has their mid laner and their what was their
Top laner.
top laner? Their
Yeah,
top
Bird.
laner. No, he didn't put Bird.
I put
He
Bird.
put that. Yeah, but yeah.
I think Ratsu
I
did
feel
too.
like I feel like if those fail, I feel Table can carry as well. But I feel like he is lesser down on the list of carries in IG under Azure and Bird.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. The only issue being that Table, I think, is busy Thursdays.
Yes, he is.
Which I think
if he
is,
got more game time.
Yeah, but also Leper's the one who made the list, so can't fault you for that.
Yeah.
Again, for me, my list, Bam. This team requires all five. Donut, for a lot of the same reasons that you said, I think Donut's just an underestimated laner. In wins and in losses, Donut's putting up really good numbers, and I think is a little bit of a rock for this team. I've been impressed with their play. Noteworthy to me. And then the last one I have here is Poopsock Bossman. I think this is the best player on Roar. And to me, it's like without question. To me, Poopsock Bossman might be one of the best ADs in G1. Maybe the best AD, in my opinion. I've been thoroughly impressed by their numbers, and their name is amazing. Poopsock Bossman. It's a fucking great name. Yeah, I don't know. Poop has been impressing me like week in and week out. I've been very vocal about the fact that I am not impressed by a lot of the top tier G1 teams, right? And they get mad at me for it. Poopsock Bossman is the exception to that. Week in and week out, I think this player puts in a lot of work for Roar and is pivotal to them maintaining a lot of their wins that they get. Boratsu,
Yeah.
what about you?
I think Bam's probably the best AD, but that's just me. And it also like I think Bam is kind of like one of these players that like requires like a specific kind of like situation to like really pop off, and they're just like hitting that in GSGS, which is like why they're like
Winning.
to the moon. Yeah. But like early season they weren't really hitting it, and like I remember like, a couple weeks ago you were like, I'm not sure about this like GSGS team, and then like they started winning, and you were like, oh.
Yeah, and they started winning really hard, and I was like, okay, yeah.
And then Barry Donut, we already went over that. He's a really good laner. He's a really good team player. I think he shouldn't have been in IBS last split, and yeah, he's just in gold now.
Yeah.
Poopsock Bossman, another really good ADC. You went over him pretty in depth, so I have nothing really to add there.
All right. Supports, rounding it out for Division 1.
Yep.
Let's talk about it. I also I'm like legitimately gonna pee my pants. I drank too much water, so I'll rush back. Pitiful, you go though.
Yes, go. As I stated before, if you have Berry Donut, you have to have Pink Penguin. I feel like their synergy is outmatched in a gold elo competitive scene. They just are on the same wavelength the whole time. Rin from Imperial. I feel like Rin carries the bottom lane. Yeah, I feel Rin is more important in the bottom lane than Table is. Sorry to say that, Leper. I know you put Table up there. Rin is just an outstanding support. One probably the best support in Division 1 in my opinion. And then you got that Pecker guy. He's laying D down in the bottom lane all game. Man's carrying
That
Vamp
Pecker guy.
all over the place. He's laying D down the whole game, man.
Also, I just got back.
Yeah.
That was a pretty fast pee, was it not?
Yes.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast,
Here you go.
Sonic.
Faster. Go.
Is it my turn? Okay. So
Speedrun.
Decker again, GSG. Great dude. On top of being a really solid team player, right? It's the reason they look so damn good right now. Rin, I think this is the best support in Division 1. Like I said before, I think IG on paper should be really, really disgusting. Unfortunately, they're not finding a lot of success for various reasons, right? But I think through that, Rin has still looked good. I think Rin is just a really clean player, and probably their team's record doesn't reflect how good this player is. For the same reason that Barry Donut is on this list, Monkey's Rising support Pink Penguin is on the list as well. I think in this meta and the current state of the video game, ADCs are useless before like 15 minutes. Like the role is basically just a ward that you have to handhold. It's a support v support lane, and Donut doesn't play the way they do without Pink Penguin playing the way they do. So that's why I have Pink Penguin here.
Nice. Now I get to tell you why Kiba's good. 'Cause
Also,
we've already been
I love Kiba. I should know that. Kiba's awesome.
Yeah. So Rin, best support. Decker, literally like I think Decker is like the thing that holds GSGS together. Like his personality and like just like his strength of character like
that
really holds that
charm.
team together. Yeah. Like he's a very charismatic personality, and that really probably helps that team stay together.
I'm sure.
But I think Kiba is actually similar to Decker in this way. I feel like Kiba is really hard to tilt. Even
you
when
can't
Kiba's like
tilt Kiba. She's
Yeah,
untiltable.
actually yes. So like Kiba can die like 20 times in the lane and still be like laughing and joking and like trying to make things like work, like
Yeah.
trying to find a way to win. Whereas like other supports will just like break and quit, which is like why Kiba's like really good. And I feel like that mentality is basically what Clownfish needs to like succeed, because they can't like mental boom. They have to like keep going.
Yeah. And I think that's a team that is prone to some unfortunate like boomy style moments, right? Not saying that they're like they have a weak mental at all, but I think when they're a team that is supposed to be succeeding more than they are, it can be obviously frustrating to be losing. And I think for what you said, Kiba can definitely hold that team together morale wise. I was lucky enough to, when I tried out for the Dolphins team that would become Killer Whales, Kiba was on the same tryout team with me, and the like sister team essentially to Wales ended up becoming, I think they were Lod in Fishbowl, and now is renamed Clownfish 9. Kiba's just the best, insane comms, so definitely solid reasons to be on any list. With that being said, do you guys want to move into Gold 2?
Go.
Sure.
Gold
Disclaimer: I did not make this. Leopard did.
Yes, disclaimer, Pitiful didn't put himself. Also disclaimer, I made the decision to not include any Killer Whales players on my list as I have bias. I love you all. I'm sorry, teammates, that are not on my list.
For good reason, you have bias.
For good reason. Running it out. It's no surprise to me that we all have Potato Tomato 6669. This 16-year-old fucking slaps.
He's 16?
He is 16. Man's an absolute
Oh
unit.
my gosh, what a fucking unit.
He is an absolute unit. I enjoy playing with Potato Tomato 6669. We practice top lane 1v1s a lot. I hit him with the Tom Kench versus his Camille. I did beat him early, and he decided to show me what Camille with 2 items does.
Oh yeah.
But I believe Leper put everyone from Little Monkeys and everyone from Killer Whales because they're undefeated in Division 2, which I understand completely. Killer Whales, Yadin, 22. I feel like everyone in Killer Whales is strong right now. And I'm going to have no comment on myself. Like,
I'll
I don't know how
talk
to
about
defend
you
myself.
if you want.
Sure.
I'll make the case for Pitiful then. Pitiful was in the running for my noteworthy 3 players as well. I think Hyperion was another team that was like everyone expected to be sort of top of the middle pack, right? And then roster changes happened. I think there was some internal strife within that team about the way that they wanted to play and the way they wanted to find success, and they weren't finding that success. And people were on different pages. It ended up with players leaving, players joining, and post roster shakeup. I didn't expect Hyperion to be doing as well as they are. I do actually have another Hyperion player somewhere on my list that I'll get to, but when you have a roster shakeup like that, that's that deep, it is hard to argue against any of the players that have been added to Hyperion, right? Their games have looked good with an essentially brand new roster minus Attila. So obviously, if Pitiful's on that squad and they're finding success, there's more. That's more than enough reason to be putting Pitiful into this noteworthy list.
Something I do like about Hyperion is they will let me play whatever I want. I will. They will let me. They'll look at me, laugh at me because I'm picking such things like Singed and whatnot, but it works, and they're happy with it. Because it works.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think it's great that I have my own decisions in the top lane.
Yeah, and that like when a team can find success and still find ways to have fun, that's obviously the most important thing. I'm gonna move right into Feathers, who I have on here. I get that Feathers is sort of on a not sort of on a 4 fun team, is entirely on a 4 fun team. However, I think, and this was brought up in the community feedback section a lot today and yesterday, and I know Feathers made a point about like sort of stacking teams. Like obviously Feathers can't stack his own team at without running the risk of people saying it's rigged or whatever, which I totally understand. I personally wouldn't because Feathers just isn't that type of guy who would rig something. But I think regardless of whether or not this is a 4 fun team, like Feathers is he's putting up really bad games, don't get me wrong, but he's also putting up really good games, right? And it's clear that like for a 4 fun team, this is probably the best 4 fun team you're going to get, right? Like with 0 scrim time, 0 practices, people picking like Aurelia ADC. Like I think the fact that Feathers is still in discussions for being like one of the better top laners in the division speaks volumes to the fact that he's a very good player. Moving on to JJ, I think this is a huge addition for BDES. Big Dog Entourage Sapphire, sorry. While not the biggest addition in terms of like the new tops that have entered this division, I think JJ looks really solid in the top lane. I think there were some struggles previously with this team being called the Moriarty Show, and I no longer think it's just the Moriarty Show. I think this team has opened up other options and other avenues for them, which is why JJ's here. And then obviously we talked about Potato Tomato, just a beast of a player. Literal Monkeys looks really, really good right now. And Potato opened the season saying, hey, like, I'm going to fuck your shit up. Ratsu.
Yad and Potato, both undefeated top laners. I can't complain about somebody who's undefeated, so I'm not going to even try. But yeah, JJ, I kind of wanted to address him because, like you said, like used to be James Moriarty show, but with JJ, it's like now there's 2 win conditions, which makes them much more like Imperial and Div 1, which is like massive because when you have 2 win conditions, it's a lot harder to stop you from just running over the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see you in chat saying Yadin has 100% of your damage, but hear me out. He also can play like bruisers and tanks, and he's just generally good at the game. So.
Who are we talking about?
Yadin.
Oh. Yeah, Yadin dies very little. He's a good player. I'm not going to talk more about him. Moving to jungles.
Oh, before we move on about Comfrey Cartel,
Yes.
Feathers is 3-band every single time, so he
Yes,
doesn't actually get
he's still
the shine.
pulling bands, you know, but he still looks
He
good even when
doesn't.
he's 3-band, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't get the shine. So I feel like even if
Exactly.
one of his champions gets through, then it's over. Even.
Yeah, like the guy is good and there's no arguing against it. If he wasn't good, people wouldn't be banning Alawi and Urgot every single game against them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anyway, moving on.
Yep.
Jungles. That's
Jungles.
pitiful.
Ah, the cutest jungler on the show, Swifty. As I said before, Leper picked everyone from Killer Whales and Literal Monkeys. They're undefeated. I understand. So Swifty, the fucking volley bear god, in my opinion.
You
His
haven't
volley bear is
you haven't
nothing.
even
Ban his volley bear.
you haven't even
Ban
seen
his volley bear.
you haven't even seen the
Listen,
trundle,
guys,
have you?
ban the volley bear.
Don't tell him.
Now we have the Sejuani one trick, of course. Batman, he's coming. He doesn't.
Oh no, Batman's gonna be so mad about that.
I think Batman plays more than Sejuani.
He does. He does play more than Sejuani, but it's just funny because I said it once and then Batman got really mad at me for it. But anyway.
Yeah. Again, Literal Monkey top team. Comfy Cartel Jungle Phil. I don't know if Leper is meaning the newest person jungle for Comfy
Yeah,
Cartel
I don't know either.
or Billy Willard.
We're
as
not
I
entirely
imagine-
sure.
Because Billy Willard, I believe, left Comfy Cartel or benched himself this week. So we don't know if he
We'll
meant
find
Billy
out.
Willard or yeah.
So
I'll leave that to be determined.
that's TBD. I'm gonna move right into mine.
Leopard says whoever is playing for Comfy Cartel.
Whoever's playing for Cover Cartel this week, that's the third best jungler in the league. TCR Reality. I think again, this player's been on Sapphire for the entire season, but has been out. Everyone on that team's been sort of overshadowed by just the power that is James Moriarty. But I think credit where credit is due. TCR Reality, without a team to really, for me, this is the reason that like I don't have Paradox's jungle on this list, right? Is because I think that TCR Reality's ability to get leads for Moriarty is better than Morgana Bathwater's ability to get leads for Trajan. And I think that shows in game. I think it shows in the records that these two teams have. And that's why I have TCR Reality here. Batman, again, undefeated team. I will say that I'm riding a slippery slope here, and I don't mean to imply that Batman's not a good player. I do think Batman's like team is so good that it makes his life a little bit easier. And I think Batman is a jungle who is not like, when you look at him in a vacuum with all the other junglers, he's not like the most mechanically gifted. He's not like the jungler that if you are against him in a straight 1v1, he's going to bash your brains in because his fingers are just that good. I think where he shines is his ability to play really cleanly with his team. He fits very well into the competitive cohesion of this team. He knows where he's got to be. He's very good at securing leads for his team, and he's never really going to fall that far behind from what we've seen so far. Fire Chicken, New Wave Esports. I was actually kind of confused about who to put for the third one here. I think there are a lot of junglers in Division 2 who are struggling to really find success in the same way that the Gold 1 Division junglers are. But I do think that Firecheck is working with a swap from their old jungler Righteous going to mid, and then Fire Chicken is taking jungle, and I think they've handled that transition very gracefully, and that's what stood out to me. But anyway, Ratsu.
Swifty needs to go to Plat. Batman's really good with his team, and Morgana Bathwater.
Oh no.
And I think Morgana Bathwater, pound for pound, is a better jungler than TCR Reality, but has like a harder time playing around with the team because of how they want to play the game versus how their team wants to play the game.
I just got called the fuck out.
I mean, there's literally a clip somewhere.
I know, it's Moby's clip. I clipped it. Yeah, the clip titled "Disgusting Player." Anyway,
Yeah.
I appreciate you putting me there. That's very nice of you. Anyway, moving on to mid.
Go to Plat.
Go to Plat. I'm in Plat now. I hit Plat 4. Anyway,
Mid laners. Leper put in James Moriarty. We all put in James Moriarty.
yeah.
James Moriarty is single-handedly the BDES, in my opinion. JJ's pretty good now too, but I feel like James Moriarty is the whole team. Man is insane on all mages. Man plays TF. Man plays Cassio. Man, mm, he loves controlling the whole map, and he's always fed. I don't know how.
Yeah, he
It's
gets
like
he gets fed so easily.
even when they're losing, he's fed.
Yeah, he's just really good. He's just really really
Uh,
fucking good.
as Leper put, it's got to be Killer Whales and Literal Monkeys, induce Lieutenant Orange Juice. OJ plays Lilia mid. Is already a big fan of me and Brennan's. But he also plays Teemo.
I
He
was gonna
plays
say.
Teemo mid.
I
Like
think he's played the most unique champions out of anyone.
he
Just as a
plays
fun
Teemo
fact.
mid not to win the game, but to make your feelings hurt. In my
Okay,
opinion.
I'm gonna defend OJ there. OJ's the nicest mid laner in the league. He refuses to say what the fuck because he doesn't like cursing, so he'll say what the fudge. He never meant to hurt anyone by Teemo. He's just been memeing to Velos for literally months that he wanted to play at mid. And when I'm on vacation, the person who tells him he can't do that was gone, so that's why it happened. But
So I
anyway,
feel like OJ is just me. He plays what he wants mid lane.
yes, he does.
Let's have fun. Induced, I do not know much about Induced. I know Little Monkeys had that hiccup early on with Carapace and had some early
Mhm.
miss with mid lane, but I feel like Induced is setting in really nicely with Little Monkeys.
Yeah. I think again Moriarty. Just Moriarty things, he's insane. Even when he's losing, he's not. Again, induced for similar reasons. We've talked about Literal Monkeys. They're another team that just looks really, really good as a unit. It's hard to point out a weak spot on that team. I have Trajan here. I think Trajan is in the same vein as like in OJ or as a James Moriarty, like a huge, huge, huge piece for their team. Um, Trajan can 1v9 games. I've seen it happen. It happened to me when we played them. Um, he's a very, very, very talented mechanical player and is a very seasoned competitive player. Um, I, I think without a doubt he's the shining player of that team. Like no one else on his team comes really close to his ability to be able to just completely carry a game. But Ratu.
Induced's a unit, James Moriarty show, and OJ is just a really nice human being that I enjoy talking to whenever I go into the Killer Whales Discord.
We anyway bots.
Spots. All right. K, Wonderworld, Little Monkeys, of course. I think K is like one of the stronger assets that Little Monkeys has. Guy's always chill, is always carrying them, in my opinion. Uh, we have Velos, Thwomp. I don't know what that's for. I'm assuming he's Killer Whales.
Yeah. Thwomp thwomp.
Velos, Thwomp. Velos is very seasoned. Has been playing for a while. He's a well-rounded AD carry. As long as he's wrangled in by his support, in my opinion. Then we also have Trucks. Trucks is pretty good. I feel he's the only Imperial Paradox player that we put on our list. I feel like he can single-handedly carry games through Imperial Paradox. Sadly, I don't think he's here tonight, so
Oh.
Imperial Paradox has to play
Clip
at a
this and tip
disadvantage.
it.
Has to disadvantage against us tonight, Hyperion gang. But we're not gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, and we're gonna try our best to beat them,
Nice.
like they are still playing with Trucks.
Yeah, I guess I'll touch on trucks quickly. While I know I did say that Trajan to me is like the easiest 1v9 candidate on that team, and it's not close. That just speaks more to just how good Trajan is that Trucks is still on this list, right? Trucks is a very, very good bot laner. I think to argue any other way would be kind of just memeing. He's just super talented, and it shows. Wonderworld, along with Hide and Shrouds, who will appear on my list next for supports. This is the best bot lane in the league. No cap. Like, best bot lane, I think, by a long shot in the league. Like, as a duo. And then Mystic for BDES. Looks insane. I think Mystic's a bigger addition than JJ is. I think JJ's a good addition, but I think Mystic is twice the addition that JJ is. Mystic looks really, really good, and I think Life is a seasoned support who struggles a bit mechanically, but has like just an experienced sort of like IQ for League. And I think in Mystic has found a good latent partner for himself. And Mystic to me is just a huge addition for Sapphire. I think Sapphire goes from number 4 in the league, or in Division 2 to number 3 in Division 2 after this edition. Once like regular season ends, they could, and then they could possibly beat Whales or Literal Monkeys moving forward in the season. Ratsu?
Wonderworld, really good bot laner. I think my vote for best bot laner, personally. I think Trux is also really good. I will, however, defend Velos because I've been asked about this. I think that Velos, for what he needs to do, which basically, in my opinion, is like farm, don't die, and like make sure that like you have pressure if you need pressure. Like he does his job fine. Like he does what he needs to do, and as a result, like his team doesn't have to like worry about him or like his lane, and that like opens them up to do a lot of stuff because there's a lot of teams that have like weaker bot sides or bot sides that need resources when that's not their win condition, and that like actively takes away from like the team, and like it's just not the case in his situation.
Moving on to support then.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, let's get it.
Oh, of course, we have to finish out the Little Monkeys team with Hidden Shrouds. Man is insane. Paired with K, I feel like anyone would feel insane, but I feel like Hidden Shrouds is probably the single-handed best support in Division 2. Killer Whales, undefeated, Seb Rambo. I do not know much about Killer Whales because
He's a very handsome French Canadian man with the cutest dog in the world.
So he's already better than Attila. Got it. Then I know a little bit about Luna, Big Cartel. Let's go. Luna, best e-girl, in my opinion. I feel like if you're on a meme team and you get put on here, it's because you're actually a good player.
Yeah, it speaks a lot.
Feathers is put on here. Feathers is put on here. Luna was put on here. I feel like they're pivotal pieces that is in Comfy Cartels and the wins that they have, even when they're memeing.
Yeah. For me, I guess I'll do Shrouds and cover him quickly again. To me, Shrouds is one of the best players in the league. Like any role and consideration, any player, Shrouds is one of the best players in the league. If you watch Monkey's games, this man finds picks and finds leads and finds advantages, hiding like 100 yards underground and unearths them for his team. I think he puts in so much work. I think he's like the most pivotal member on the team, just genuinely. I know that Caton's been on this team, but I know that Caton's not currently on the team, supposedly. And I think without Caton, Shrouds is like, I don't think anyone else on this team comes close to the amount of work that goes in to just like the complete stomps that this team has. Like I watch Shrouds play and I'm like, ah, crap. Like I have to face this guy week 9. Cleo, another really good support in the league. I think Cleo just is really, really good at enchanter supports. And it shows. She pulls bans. She's played with Trajan for forever, and that organization for forever. Just a seasoned player who just will stand out in any league that she's in. You're gonna see Cleo in support, and you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, they've got a good support, and she's gonna play well.
Seraphine's nasty.
Yeah, Seraphine's nasty. It's a pick ban when you're playing against Imperial Paradox because of her. Bees, I think, this is kind of a controversial take, and I don't mean this negatively. I think that while Attila is a very seasoned player, right, and has a lot of competitive experience, I do think Attila struggles mechanically and positioning wise, and just his ability to execute is lacking compared to a lot of other ADCs in the league. With Bees in support, like his numbers have gone through the roof, like astronomically so. And to me, that just speaks volume because Attila's the same, right? But with a support that can really enable Attila and allow his sort of competitive experience and veteranship to shine through, it speaks volumes to Bees. So that's why I have B's here. But Ratsu.
Rambo, really good guy, heart and soul of his team. Hidden Shrouds, absolutely cracked. Cleo, just like for the team, like exactly what that team needs.
Yeah.
Easy.
All reliable. All right. So with
You wanna try
that,
and do speed?
yeah,
Wanna
let's
try
do
and do
let's
speed?
do speed as I try and pull this.
I got him. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Agnikai versus TD Harmony. Agnikai,
TD.
2-1.
Agnikai 2-1.
I'll give a benefit of the doubt. I think Athena's just gonna have the edge. I'm gonna give TD Harmony 2-1.
Clownfish 9 versus Rar. Rar 2-1.
Rar 2-1. I'm stuck. I think it could go either way, but Rar
2-1.
2-1.
Pod versus Oasis Fire. Pod
2-1.
2-0.
Pod 2-1 for me.
I think Pod's gonna 2-0.
Corvus Storm versus GS 2-0.
GSGS 3-0.
GS 6-0.
Imperial versus Monkeys Rising. Monkeys Rising 2-1.
Imperial 2-0.
Monkeys Rising 2-1.
Ooh. Okay.
All right, that's the controversial one I think for this for this.
Yeah, I
decision.
agree. I agree.
All right.
New Wave versus Literal Monkeys.
Monkeys 2-0.
Yeah,
Monkeys
2-0.
2-0.
Killer Whales versus BDE. Killer Whales 2-0.
Killer Whales 2-1.
Killer Whales 2-1.
Hyperion versus Paradox. Hyperion 2-1.
Paradox 2-0.
Hyperion 2-1.
Predators versus Cartel for 5th seed. Predators 2-1.
I'm gonna go Predators 2-1 on this one.
Wait. Before we go, did Feathers find a juggler for tonight?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm gonna go Comfy Cartel 2-0, but
Goon Squad Gaming Gamma versus Ugly Gang. Ugly Gang 2-1.
I'm gonna go
2-0.
GSG 2-0. 2-1. 2-1. Ugly Gang takes a game.
I could say 2-1. They Ugly Gang did beat us, so I got to give them a little bit. 2-1 GSG.
Alrighty. So that takes us to right about
1 minute
8
before game time.
EST. Right about game time. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been Swifty, joined by Ratsu, joined by Pitiful. Thank you for stepping in again, Pitiful. This is yet to be named, the officially named Gold CGG pre-show. We will see you guys on the Rift. Keep it classy.
Good luck tonight.
Good luck tonight, everyone, and let's get weird.